Dunedin's version of the Amazing Race was held this week. It was put together by disability organisations to highlight the realities of mobility access. The event also marked the International Day of People with Disabilities. John Marrable is an information consultant with the Disability Information Service. He joins us tonight. Good evening, John.
Good evening.
Give us a little rundown of the sort of barriers that you face.
There's both the physical and also the attitudinal type of barriers. Physical can be everything from getting out of bed to getting to work or getting into town to even moving around town. Attitude can be people you deal with, even your own attitude on how you relate to yourself or to other people.
Now, we heard this week about some difficulties navigating shops and using ATM machines, which most of us take for granted. What are some of the simple things that could be done to change those sorts of situations for the better?
Well, a lot of the built environment is covered in building acts and building legislations, and I think sometimes it's just architects, builders being aware of why certain, like ATMs have to be a certain height or why drop curbs have to be a certain gradient, things like that. So just understanding why they need to be done that way.
Now, you had an event that you called the Amazing Race this week. Tell us how that worked.
The idea of Amazing Race was a play on words. We liked the idea of an amazing race and having tasks and things for everyone to do. But people with impairments or disabilities, it's amazing sometimes how some people get through their day. And we thought, well, let's use that Amazing Race. So it was a play on words. We had 4 teams of about 4 people. 3 in wheelchairs and then 1 supervisor who was there to give guidance. For example, I was one of the supervisors and one of the people on my team ended up going off the curb into the road and just about got run over by a bus. So I was there to try and help, that type of thing.
What were the positive results that came out of it?
I think it was just awareness. Everyone was just buzzing and said, look, we'll have to do this again. We had representatives from the council, the engineers like Fulton Hogan, Opus, and representatives from the MP offices, and each of them said they weren't aware of the difficulties just getting around.
Disability awareness isn't new. Why do you think these problems still exist?
I think I was going to say complacency. I don't think that's quite right. Sometimes it's the cost to alter stuff. Dunedin's a very old city, so a lot of buildings are old. If a building is brand new, there's no excuse. We've got legislation in place. New Zealand was one of the first countries to sign off a disability strategy 11 years ago. So New Zealand is trying to move forward, but sometimes it's not keeping up with the level of disability.
And tell us what else happened on International Day of Persons with Disabilities.
Okay.
Quite a mouthful.
It is. It used to be called International Day of Disabled Persons, but people are now referring to the person before the disability, so yeah, it's starting to get very PC. And so New Zealand was one of 31 countries worldwide that celebrated in one way or another. Christchurch did like a performance day where they had people doing dance, poetry, song. Taranaki had a get-together and they had signed off their disability strategy with the local council. Auckland had like a barbecue. Also a group of disabled groups called themselves Cubes. They got together and thought, why invent the wheel? We're all doing the same thing. We're all looking for the same result. So it was well done. It was a good celebrations.
John Marrable from the Disability Information Service, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.